I am thrilled to be able to give you my Get Started Quick Guide to the newest exploration zone, Occult Crescent. I'm going to make sure to timestamp this video very well, and they're going to be in the description and pinned comments, so go to whatever section you need. You can save yourself a ton of grief and wasted time by what I'm going to be going over in this video. The only requirements are that you need to be level 100 and have finished Dawn Trail. In order to get to Occult Crescent, you're going to be talking to the Expedition Messenger in Tuliolo, coordinates X of 17, Y of 12. Returning to Occult Crescent after unlocking it is in Tuliolo, basically at the same location. After a series of quests, you will eventually land at the main Occult Crescent hub, Phantom Village. From here, you're going to be able to access a whole bunch of resources, but most of what you're actually going to be concerned about is going to be in the Southern Crescent itself, with one major exception, which is going to be the Relic Weapons. This time in Dawn Trail, the Relic Weapon line is called Phantom Weapons, so Geralt and Relic Weapons aren't immediately accessible. I did a little leveling in Occult Crescent, and then I returned to town after my timer expired, and then I saw Geralt in the Phantom Village around coordinates of X5 and Y of 7.5 with the quest Arcane Artistry. Talking to him puts his quest back at the main location that you're going to be doing all of your Relic Weapon quest line kind of interfacing with. Getting your Relic Weapon is going to require you at this first step to collect what is called Demiatma. Yes, I said Atma for those who played Realm Reborn. I admit I myself laughed my ass off when I had my own reaction to my characters, and it was just in sync. Realm Reborn enjoyers will know this all too well. Nice thing is that you, by participating in Occult Crescent, really get the Demi-Atmas. Even before you unlock Geralt at all, you get a bunch in your inventory. I myself had a ton, and then I unlocked Geralt, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what those are for. Next really big thing is that, yes, Relic Armor is back in Dawn Trail, which is awesome. This is going to be where you're going to be dumping a lot of silver currency to acquire the base versions from the Expedition Antiquarian, which then you can upgrade the base versions at the Expedition Armor. The materials all seem to come from max level stuff. I got an Aether Spun Gold, which I required to get the +2 upgrade to the armor, from a treasure chest surrounded by a ton of mobs at really high level. It was almost level 30 mobs. The Relic Armor, however, is going to give you an insane stat boost in Occult Crescent, and I'd say it is very much worth your time considering it, even if you don't like the glamour. In terms of getting a whole bunch of loot and rewards, there is two different currencies that we have in Occult Crescent right now, which is going to be silver currency, which is seemingly just done through doing things like critical engagements and other stuff. Gold, if it's similar to Boja, is going to be acquired by doing later game activities, like once you've maxed out the quest lines, and likely is involved in Fork Tower in some capacity. Unfortunately, no real way to confirm it yet. It's only been out for a few hours. A whole host of other items can be purchased with both gold and silver currencies, like glams, housing items, music scrolls, mounts, minions, and more. Actually, much more from the Expedition Antiquarian. There's a whole ton of different glamours here. Additionally, and it's going to sound a bit funny, Occult Crescent has its own kind of main story questline, but with a caveat. As you explore the region, doing things like participating in critical engagements that I'm going to talk about in a short bit here in this video, you're going to see, as you're going from critical engagement to critical engagement, glowing areas for surveying on the ground. These are going to fill out your occult record book, which is accessible through collections, and you can even put this occult record book onto your hotbar for easy access. Always absolutely check these glowing white spots when you see them. It's very easy. You'll come across a bunch. The progression of the questline actually does depend on it. I naturally stumbled across most of them, so by the time some quests came up, I was already good to go, and don't worry about your progression. It still counts. Even if you didn't finish the quest before getting that occult record, it's all going to be fine. Another thing is that you're going to come across a lot of chests on the ground just randomly, and yes, a lot of the time you're going to get garbage. One time I did get a tradable jet black dye that sells for a ton of gil on the Gilgamesh market board. I'd say just click them. However, if you see a blue one, absolutely make sure that you prioritize clicking it, because I got really good rewards. I got that upgrade material that, was it Aether Spun Gold Yarn or something like that, which upgrades my armor from +1 to +2, so that's super duper worth it. A huge stat boost. So if you see a blue chest, definitely click it, and if you see a normal chest, you may as well click it. There's two different leveling systems in Occult Crescent that run in complete parallel to one another: Knowledge level and Phantom Job level. Knowledge level is a general level inside of Occult Crescent that basically acts as a multiplier, where you do more damage to enemies lower than you, and you do significantly less damage to enemies higher knowledge level than you, and they deal a whole lot more to you. So you're going to get one shot. But as far as I can tell, that's really it. On the note about being one-shot, you can very easily traverse the map, even at like level 1. You just go behind the enemies. They will not aggro you. You just literally slide behind them. You go on your mount, and especially when you get a riding map that I'm going to talk about later, super duper easy. Phantom Jobs is going to be the second leveling system here, and this is a pivotal part of the Occult Crescent, and this isn't the video to do a deep dive on them, but you start out with 4 of them: Freelancer, Monk, Knight, and Bard. Phantom Jobs give you access to unique skills that you can optionally, you don't need to, you can optionally use them, optionally put them on the hot bar. Like if you go into the actions and traits, then you have the duties tab, you can literally drag these phantoms onto your hot bar, and you're going to gain experience with a particular phantom job just by having it equipped and doing a solve in the Occult Crescent. You don't need to even use the abilities if you don't want to. Like me on Oracle right now, I'm not the biggest fan of the first ability, if I'm honest, so I'm not using it, but I'm still leveling it up. And this is gonna unlock further abilities and traits as you level. There's rewards for mastering a particular phantom job called Phantom Mastery status that increases damage dealt, and apparently it's across everything, and they say quote unquote other helpful effects, but that remains to be determined exactly what that means and what those are. So another side benefit, though, is that the Phantom Job Phantom Freelancer is by far the worst at the start. You get it at the start, it is pretty weak, but it levels up exclusively through mastering other Phantom Jobs. But we will discuss Phantom Jobs and Freelancer at nauseating length in a different video. I hope you look forward to it. I actually do. You can unlock other Phantom Jobs through simply doing the content, like opening treasure chests, doing critical engagements, and so on. Like I got Phantom Oracle as well as Ranger, just literally doing critical engagements randomly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you get any extras, though, you can trade them in at the Expedition Trader, and you get like 10 silver for them. Now let's talk about maximizing experience gains, because this will be absolutely something that makes or breaks your grind and your experience with the Occult Crescent. First up is always be in a group and ensure that your group is so-called balanced. This means that your levels aren't too far apart, so there's no real power leveling going on. The party level can also turn on sync mode, which will balance the party's levels just automatically, and should be done. This is very important for that extra 10% experience boost. Secondly is that we talked about the 3 starting jobs: Bard, Monk, and Knight. Each one of these 3 jobs has one skill that is a big party buff. Knight is 10% damage reduction, really useful, especially when you're new to fights. Hell, even if you're just like not new to them and just eat damage like I do. Bard is going to be 10% more experience gained, and Monk is a little bit more movement speed, but a little bit more movement speed really makes those mechanics a lot easier to dodge. It is as simple as you literally just turn on the jobs, press these skills in whatever order you want, and you just press it by these knowledge crystals, and then it applies the buff to the entire party. My personal recommendation is the first thing that you should be leveling is each of these 3 jobs to the buff skill, so that you can ensure with 100% certainty that you never need to rely on someone else, because sometimes people forget, and the only person that you can kind of really count on is yourself. Oh god, I swear I'm not jaded or cynical. It sounds so jaded or cynical, but ultimately you just always want to have access to those buffs, and it's really easy, it's really quick. And what you do is you just apply the buffs to yourself, change to another job, and keep the buffs going. There's really no reason to like not do this. Third thing related to experience, even though I had a little bit of a really important thing about those buffs because they are that big of a deal, like that movement speed buff really makes mechanics a lot easier, and if you get into these critical engagements, you'll see what I mean. But the third one that I don't have confirmed if it impacts specifically experience is that food buffs are actually, and I can confirm this, they are applying and modifying your stats like HP, critical hit, determination, and so on. So I'm not sure if food is having its 3% experience buff apply or not, but frankly the other extra stats and HP is very nice to have in the first place. Yet to be confirmed if the 3% on experience is a thing or not. Now let's talk about the current content loop, at least until we figure out what's going on with Forked Tower, which might be literally 2-3 days from now. Who knows? And so my personal recommendation is I say that you go for every critical engagement that you can do, and you drop everything else for them. They are announced very clearly with a nice sound effect. Even if you tab out, just make sure your sound settings are obviously set up for it, but it's the same kind of ping noise that Boja made during their critical engagements. And then on the blue crescent menu is what I'm going to call it, you can at the very bottom see exactly on the map where the critical engagement is just by clicking on it. It'll just show you on your map exactly where it is at. Critical engagements are going to be your bread and butter. They pop very often and you can literally chain them back to back to back. Just make sure that when you are wanting to do that you're in the blue circle by the time they start. Unlike Boji, you're not going to be teleported into it. Definitely a little sad on that lack of QOL, but it's a give and take, I suppose. But there is going to be a little bit of time between each of your critical engagements, so this is where you could do something like Fates, explore more Crescent surveys, go do that main story questline, go do bio, etc. Or in my case, video and get it done. Currently, this seems to be really great experience. Not sure if it's ideal yet. Fates are going to be another option to do between critical engagements. They are as you'd expect, but they are pretty rewarding between critical engagements. Next is pot missions, and they are incredibly similar to Fates when you're first doing them, like to get the actual pot to follow you, but they give you a, how to say it, like, if you've ever done Eureka with bunnies, it is a very similar concept. You basically keep spamming the little potion on the side menu, and it's going to basically tell you exactly where to go. Like, it doesn't consume your actual potions, for the record, and it's going to guide you saying, hey, north, south, east, west, and then you just go, and then you follow it until a chest, and then you get the rewards from it. Very interesting to note, which is pretty important, is that bunny farms are still something done in Eureka, often by bots, but it's pretty good for gil, so I mean, this is probably going to follow in the footsteps of that. Now I'm going to go through some incredibly critical recommendations I'm going to make to help you enjoy Occult Crescent more. Let's go over everything I recommend for movement. Return is free, it has no cooldown, and you should spam it whenever you can. I put return on my hotbar for the first time since I removed it from my hotbars eons ago. Really, seriously use return. Type /return if you don't want it on your hotbars, just use it. Super good. Which means that you should be prioritizing unlocking all the Aetherites ASAP, because you can return and go to any Aetherite, so that should be one of your first things that you prioritize. Traveling behind mobs is super effective. You can easily not get aggro on a mob just by going behind it. Next thing is that falling while not in combat will not kill you in Occult Crescent, so, but if it will in combat, so don't do that. But to traverse the map, feel free to fall down. Some of the, how to say it, sometimes traversing the map can be a real pain in the butt. Let's put it that way. And so falling with style. The next thing is get the riding map ASAP. You're gonna definitely want to get it from the antiquarian. Just, it's only 3,000 silver pieces. Get it quickly. Don't worry about the other crap. This makes such a big difference. The difference it has made in my gameplay is massive, so this should be your top priority. Now I'm going to talk about recommended jobs, because people do ask me this kind of thing, and it is play whatever you will enjoy the most and not worry about it too much. But if you really want to, like, optimize everything, my recommendations are going to be Ninja and Scholar, because they apply direct damage amplifications to the target, amplifying everyone's damage hitting it. Super good in critical engagements. Yes, some critical engagements are AoE, but in the single target ones, super good. Next up is Red Mage, because reviving people is vital in Occult Crescent, just like it was for Eureka, just like it was for Boja. Remember that you do lose experience, and it's not too much. I have lost experience. I'll try and remember to put a clip. It was something like 4,000 experience at my particular level, but it wasn't too big of a deal. But at the same point in time, if you can prevent losing experience, it's really good. So Revive is, again, king, just like it was in Eureka, just like it was in Boja. It is amazing to have Red Mage here. Now, my next thing is healers, and especially barrier healers, because as you're learning things, you're going to make mistakes, and it is so nice to literally just throw a barrier up on myself and literally laugh at the damage. And this is another reason why that 10% damage reduction buff from Occult Knight or a Phantom Knight is so nice. It is literally free damage bit, free permanent 10% damage bit. It is great. Now, I really do need to lay down for a bit. I've been going at this nonstop, and editing this video and getting it up is top priority. This is a whole lot of information, and I try to condense it down, and I hope it helps you guys out. We're not done with the Occult Crescent yet. I actually am having a blast. Take care, and hope to catch you next time.